What's up, folks? Back with another music video reaction, and we're going to do one from Bad Religion. That's right, one of my all-time favorite bands, and when it comes to lyrics, a contender for my favorite band ever. And yes, we're going to watch the video for their Atomic Garden, which is a song from their 1990 album Generator, when they were still on Epitaph, the independent label set up by Brett Gurewitz, one of the founding members of the band, and which eventually became a very big label because of Offspring and some other bands that were produced in the 90s. But yes, this is a tune that is maybe not my favorite from the album, but it seems fitting. I just reacted to Generator, both a cover of Generator, and then I did an audio reaction to the actual Bad Religion original in, as I said, audio form. So it seemed like a good time to do not only a Bad Religion video, but one from this era. Now, as far as I know, this is the earliest era when they did videos, meaning I would love if some of their songs from Suffer, No Control, or Against the Grain were music videos. And in fact, I think 21st Century Digital Boy, which was originally on Against the Grain, I think there is a video for that, but I don't ever remember seeing it back in the day. But this is one I remember seeing, not exactly at the time. I didn't start listening to Bad Religion until maybe like 94, 95 at the latest. But at that time, I was already, a mid-aged teenager. And so I was watching music videos, and I remember seeing this and being like, oh my god, like, no way, like, I didn't know punk bands did music videos. That's so awesome. So yeah, many years later, here we are, and this is the first Bad Religion music video reaction, but there are more. Now, fair to say, I've done watch-alongs on my YouTube of entire documentary / concerts for Bad Religion, so if you haven't seen those, you can check them out. Just search for my channel for Bad Religion, and they shouldn't be too hard to find. I did one for Along the Way, and then another one at, Live at the Hollywood Bowl. But yes, this video, I remember it's black and white. I noticed here on YouTube, even though it's on the official Epitaph channel, the highest resolution is 240. So I think it's just one that was shot so long ago, and it's never been given an upgrade into high definition or anything. So we'll have to bear with a slightly grainy resolution. But yeah, I remember it's in black and white. I remember there's not only performance footage where we get, sort of these, what's the right word, disorienting flashes, meaning it's very like kinetic and, rapid fire imagery where there's like flashing lights and so on. But that seems to fit in with the other footage that we see, which is like Greg, singing and with some backdrop, like, these films behind him of animals and couples like on the beach and so on, but it's all within the context of the fear of nuclear bombs falling and all the destruction and loss of biology that would cause. So yeah, there's a sense of like ominous danger to the video, which of course fits right in with the lyrics. So yeah, with no further ado, let's watch it. This is Bad Religion and their official video for Atomic Garden, a song from their 1990 album Generator.
Everybody wants to dance in a playpen, but nobody wants to play in my garden. I see the hippies on an angry line, guess they don't get my meaning. I'm enchanted by the birds and my blossoms. I'm enamored by young lovers on the weekend. I like the 4th of July, when bombs start flashing. And I wish I had a shiny red top, a bugle with a big brass bell would cheer me up, or maybe something bigger that could really go pop, then I could make the gardening stop. Come out to play, come out to play, and we'll pretend it's Christmas Day in my atomic. All my scientists are working on a deadline, so my psychologist is working day and night time. They say they know what's best for me, but they don't know what they're doing. And I'm glad I'm not Gorbachev, cause I'd wiggle all night like jelly in a pot. At least he's got a garden with a fertile plot and a party that will never stop. Come out to play, come out to play, and we'll pretend it's Christmas Day in my atomic.
such an extent.
So yeah, obviously the final minute or so, it's very cacophonous. We hear like spoken words and just, some like random noises even as the song carries on into the end with that instrumental write out. And yeah, the video was basically what I remembered, maybe even a bit less concert footage and, a greater emphasis on the like newsreel of armies marching, bombs exploding, bombers flying over, and then shots of, babies and couples and like wild animals and all these things that would eventually be destroyed should a mutually assured nuclear destruction take place. And then the lyrics about, the psychologists and the scientists and the social, political, and cultural factors that go into creating such an environment, which, 1990, the Cold War was, just like ending, but ultimately I think speaks to the geopolitical environment that these folks, and, to a lesser extent myself. I mean, I was born in 1980, so I wasn't really old enough to understand these things. But yeah, for folks who grew up in, like, let's say born in the 60s or 70s and, were adults by the time the 80s and early 90s were around. It's a world that was fraught with a constant threat of, nuclear annihilation and, the, what's it called? The doomsday clock and so on. So I think this song fits into a subgenre of songs that address, the idea of mutually assured destruction and all that humanity had built up maybe being destroyed in a flash as the bombs start falling. In any case, shout out to them for making videos. Again, I think it's not something many punk bands did back in the day. I think it became more common. Certainly by the time you get a little later into the 90s and with the success of bands like Green Day and Offspring, I think it became like punk rock became a bit more mainstream accepted, and at that point I think more studios and so on were like willing to start working with punk bands and making videos. But I just remember when I saw this at the time, I was like, holy crap, like Bad Religion made a video? I can't believe it. So yeah, fun to go back and see it. We'll continue to go through some punk rock videos, maybe, not just Bad Religion, but other ones that I'm familiar with, and maybe, seek out some bands that I'm fond of and see what videos they have available. But yeah, shout out to Ryan and to Michaela and to Kim, people who've taken an interest in my Bad Religion reactions over the last couple of years. You are greatly appreciated. Let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.